All right, YouTube, I got a recap of round 9 of our game of Kings and Kaisers with the tentative 1.5 rule set. Madman and I have been squaring off all month pretty much, and we're just about to wrap up this game with the final round. We're at the top of round 10. So yeah, we'll just do a little recap for you guys of as to overview of what happened in round 9. So first things first, with Austria-Hungary, they actually backed out of Veneto and called off their attack, leaving one guy behind to get slaughtered on the Italian turn. So all of this here is in Dalmatia. Madman is set on securing his victory points and has been beefing up Greece with just a ton of artillery, so that if the Allies come in here to do some kind of attack, there's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9 preemptive strikes against them. So that looks pretty off-putting right there. And also building up in Serbia, Bulgaria, and even out of his military base up here in Hungary, and also in at the capital, Vienna, as well. So yeah, we got this whole mass of units here in Dalmatia right now, with the Italians, with the remaining Italian force over here, but I don't think it'll be enough to contest that. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what he does on his turn. I haven't watched. He has the beginning of round 10, his round 10 turns done already, but I have not watched them yet. Needed to do this update and do it accurately. On the Russian Civil War front, the Soviets have basically control the main portion of Russia, with the whites and the Japanese holding down the fort on Urals and beyond. And then we have some forces down here in Kazakhstan and Turkmenia. Right now it's a tie in terms of who controls the most original Russian territories, and the Soviets will win in a tie if it remains a tie, which we shall see. But I have a feeling that's going to be the case. But anyway, yeah, the Japanese are helping out. They have their complete and entire focus over here, helping out the whites in the Russian Civil War, because China has been completely allied. The war in China, the National Protection War in China, has been completely Allied favored from the beginning of the game, and it ended on the previous turn, I believe. And yeah, the Allies have the China point here, in terms of how the Empire just had the dice pretty much the entire game. Now, to offset that, Madman and I have decided to give another artillery back to the Republic of China so that they can counter better in Zhejiang. So they'll have 1 artillery in Kwangtung, 2 artillery in Yunnan. Anyway, moving on from there, Germany backed out of Belgium, went down to Alsace, and threatened threatened Lorraine. Did an attack against Lorraine, but didn't do anything besides contesting it. And then the French followed suit, and here's the standoff right here. This is what the French have in Lorraine. This is what the Germans have in Alsace. Plus, each side has a trench works. They have a military base. France has a minefield. And a few Brits have come down there to help out as well. And then the Brits took over Belgium, eliminating the one German unit there. The Brits also came up, had a sea battle in Sea Zone 21, and with a German cruiser, and also dealing with the mines there, the sea mines. And then they successfully landed it in an empty Hanover. Before I continue, I realize I forgot to do the Boneyard dish dump, but here you go. This is the casualties for this last round. You have a German ace fighter. It was lost in India. Germany attacked India to contest it, to kind of like lock those units down there. So that's helpful for them. They're padding the Reich point basically right there, and also preventing, solidifying the Ottoman hold on the Middle East oil point, which is Caucasus, Mesopotamia, Persia, and Arabia. If a side controls at least three of those, then they get the point. But yeah, a lot of units. Some elites were killed. Lost a couple subs, British subs. Lost a Italian sub. At least 2 of those. These 2, I think, were lost to mines. And then there's the German cruiser I talked about. And that was basically built to prevent allies from coming in and landing in Brandenburg, because there was only one surface warship, that battleship, to escort a couple of British transports. And then, yeah, we got British fighter there as well. That was lost in India. Britain did get a ace out of the fight, so that's at least nice. Lost a few, lost a French cavalry and just a Ottoman cavalry and just a handful of various units from other sides. Anyway, carrying on. This is what the push for Britain looks like over in this area as the game has dwindled down. South Africa has gotten a little more. South Africa and the Africa Point have gotten more secured in Allied hands. That allowed Britain to just focus on pumping out units here as quickly as possible to try and help out the French and make some kind of a dent over here. Britain is still pumping out 4 units a turn here because they have to. The Far East forces, or not Far East, Far Pacific forces, the Anzac forces, they have all been dwindled. The last dwindled, and that amount of units has been exhausted. The last units from Hong Kong are on a Japanese transport in 48, but they're not going to get over here in time to do anything. But they're there at least. And then down here in Africa, the fighting between the Germans and the Brits has continued, with the Germans retreating from Belgian Congo into French Equatorial Africa, and abandoning German East Africa as bait, but Britain did not take it. Britain instead chose to get few more units, pull a few units out of Portuguese East Africa as it was contested. I think that's where they came from, and then drop them off in India just to reinforce that. Built a few more units down here. They also have a trench works down here now, which is nice. And I think German East Africa is certain to fall on the next round, but we'll see what he does. Germany has Portuguese East Africa, and the Austrians have Sudan, and the Ottomans have Egypt, Cyrenaica, and French Equatorial Africa. So, with the Americans coming in and taking over the remaining territories, Germany does have Togoland still, at least. But with the Americans coming in to help out, the Africa Point is certainly secured. Although the question of whether or not the Allies can break the Suez Point, looking kind of grim over there. Can we contest Egypt? Can we contest Cairo? There's just all these different options to try and contest, but we're not in a position to contest all of them. So we have to pick and choose which ones we're going to go for. So this is going to be interesting. Anyway. What else? Yeah, Ottomans basically sent units down here, pulled their units out of Darfur to beef up Egypt, sending more units down to Palestine. He has a military base there now. He has minefields in each of these territories, so this is going to be an Allied death zone if attacked. So we'll see. It's extremely secure, pretty much, with what he has here, and he has air supremacy in either of these territories, with one fighter in each. However, the capital is looking pretty thin currently, but we'll see. What else? The Ottomans have been continued to be convoyed by these Russian cruisers, these white Russian cruisers, pretty much the entire duration of the game, and that has been costing him. And then he's also been getting convoyed down 31 and convoyed over here. So Ottomans are the most vulnerable power to convoys, and it's interesting to see how they play out. And that's also a big reason why we gave them so many national objectives too. Moving on from there, basically touched on Japan already, got that covered. Italy, like I said, pushed up into Veneto. They have a tank. They have one tank in place, so they just were able to wipe the guy that was left in Veneto to contest it, and then built some transports to possibly help out with another push or something. We'll see. Italy and the U.S. went into Sea Zone 32 just in case the Ottomans decide to build any sea units. There's already some stuff in there. And then that's a way to skirt around the improved sea mines, because there's improved sea mines in the Sea Zone, but those don't really come into play unless combat occurs, right? So they move into the Sea Zone. That you roll for mines for you always roll for mines when there's a minefield, a sea minefield. You always roll for mines when you move into a territory, but you don't roll for mines when you until if you have improved sea mines. Let me rephrase that. If you have improved sea mines, that basically gives you an additional mine roll at the top of combat. Basically, kind of like AAA again against C units, but it's like 2 rounds of it essentially, right? So this kind of at least sending this stuff in here, sending those cruisers in there, put in a little bit of a gave them a little bit of an edge in that, if the Ottomans put stuff in there, there's already a few units in that territory to we don't have to worry about if they're going to have to survive 2 rounds of sea mines in 1 round. Basically, is what I'm getting at. So one Italian sub was lost to those mines, but hey, it's in there. And then there's a dreadnought that can potentially come in there or go elsewhere as well. And some American cruisers came up here into Sea Zone 30 as well, in case the Austrians build any sea units there too. So that's kind of cool. And that's basically about it for this round. Western Front has been dodgy all game. Austria is like trying to secure what it can. Germany has been had shuffled units down to Africa with the Zeppelins, and they're on their way back. We got a Zeppelin in Brandenburg. We got a Zeppelin in Greece. I realized actually there should be an infantry there for that Zeppelin to be there, but maybe he didn't move back. We'll see. I'll double check his video. Anyway, whatever. Minor issue there. But anyway, swap one of those cavalry for an infantry, I guess. Anyway, what else? Well, yeah, Germany did primarily. He did an entire build of cavalry and cruisers, so that was funny. End game buys, it don't matter too much with how much stuff he has over here. Germany's got 6 tanks in Alsace, so he can absorb 6 hits when he attacks. So we'll see what Germany does. Anyway, and then also America knocked out the Germans or the Mexicans that took over Central America, which does affect the Pacific point because it's a colony that's adjacent to the Pacific. So that is now firmly in Allied hands officially, and they built a few more sea units over there just in case they survived and we needed to throw a few more things at them, and knock that down from the Empire Point as well. And then U.S. built a few more Brazilians. Not that it matters too much, but who knows? Maybe come down to Africa with those guys. Well, that's basically about it. Over here, this is the victory point tracker. Right now, it is looking Allies 5, Central Powers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 points. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, sorry, 9 points. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 points. He can potentially snag Western Front for me, or at least make sure that we don't get it, because it's who controls most. Favorable trade, kind of doubt he'll snag that from me, but who knows. The Central Powers firmly have the Russian Revolution point. I think that they have the Fate of Russia point because it's a tie currently in terms of the territories, and I don't think the Allies are going to be able to break it. I think the Soviets are going to win Fate of Russia. Madman disagrees with me. It's possible I can get the Mediterranean point. It's possible I can break the Balkan point. He firmly has 3, 5 minor cities. 3 and 5 minor cities. I could maybe snag Cairo, but there's no way I can get to Bucharest. No way I can get to Kiev. No way I can get to Warsaw. No way I can get to Baku in Caucasus. So it literally comes down to if I can snag Cairo from him and or at least contest the territory. If I can contest the territory, then he doesn't get that point. What else? Oh, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so there's 4 minor cities that I can't do anything about. So he for sure has 3. It's possible. Let me put another one of these down. Possible I can snag that. And I'll put one of these down in Fate of Russia because, again, he thinks I can snag that. Allies firmly have the Africa point. Central Powers firmly have the Middle East oil point. I can take Arabia, but it doesn't matter because I can't take another one of these territories. I just don't have the British transports in a position to be able to drop off anything. And especially if this is contested, I can't pick up units from a contested territory and then drop them in a non-contested territory, if that makes any sense, unless it's friendly. So I can't bring up units from contested West India and drop them in Persia or Mesopotamia and attack. I can take them out and bring them into like Somaliland if I wanted to, for instance, but basically I have one transport down here that can bring a couple units to drop off someplace, and yeah, we'll see. And they have a couple transports here as well that can't really do anything. Oh well. Yeah, so that basically is kind of like a positioning thing, but yeah, I think they firmly have the Middle East oil point. What else? Allies firmly have China, and they firmly have the Pacific colonies point. Been fighting over the Empire point the entire game, and the Central Powers right now are at 81, so they don't have it. It's possible they can get it, but we'll probably knock them down a peg or two. The Allies certainly do not have the Empire point. That basically, in order to have the Empire point, you need to be pushing into the Ottoman Empire and making more progress elsewhere on the map for the Allies to really get the Empire point, which is the combination of Britain and France's income on the tracker. For the CP, it's German and Austro-Hungarian income together, and the Germany, or it's not Germany, but the Central Powers firmly have Belgrade. I'm not going to be able to take Belgrade because it's not a coastal territory. I have to, if I'm going to break the Balkan point, I'm going to have to probably attack Bulgaria, Greece, Albania. If I snag Bulgaria, I can get Sofia, but I kind of think he's not going to let me. He's probably going to doom stack that one, so we'll see. What else? Yeah, that's basically about it. So we still got one last crazy round to see what happens with this game. It's been a very fun game. We do have a few other minor changes that we're gonna add in to 1.5 as a result of this game and things we've learned. But overall, very minimal. Like I mentioned earlier, we're adding an artillery to Republic of China. We're adding it back into Republic of China rather. Changing there, and we got a few little tweaks for the Russian Civil War setup, and we also have a Zimmerman telegrams tweak that we're gonna have as well. But I think that's about it if I'm going off the top of my head. So anyway, there you go. The two national objectives that we were playtesting at the beginning of it with Russia and contesting Eastern Front territories, and how we changed Austria-Hungary's Eastern Front NO as well. We liked both of those, so those will be in the new version, and we'll go from there. So anyway, on to round 10. Thank you so much for watching. Looking forward to wrapping this up. Peace.